Hey everybody, welcome to 0 Day Studios. I think this is my third video on my channel. I don't know, showcasing some merch, showcasing a couple of my guitars. This one being my Ibanez, what is it? RGMS8. This thing is nasty, super cool. Today we're going to talk about thumping, cold hammers, and plucking when you're into some Djent style. Now, if this is your first time trying to attempt this, I would suggest go back and watch some of the pros, Tosin Abasi, Tim Henson, any of the guys that are doing the modern metal. Now, if it's not your style, that's okay. If you're more old school, that's cool too. You'd rather play with a pick, no problem. Learning new things is always a plus, no matter what style of music that you're doing. Whether that be, stepping out of your comfort zone, pushing your boundaries, or just trying to increase your accuracy, techniques, and all kinds of other things having to do with your pick hand. Today, what I'm talking about is throwing away the pick using these little phalanges. So, what is a thump? So, a thump suggests that you're basically just slapping it like the bass, right? Kind of hard to see because of my angle, but basically what I'm doing is I'm taking my thumb and I'm getting to it. Do you need an H string? No. It helps if you want to get into those real low tunings. Grab my pick here for a second so I can demonstrate. A little nasty, right? It's low. Technically, I'm in E standard. Moving on. So, popularized by the name escapes me. Victor Wooten, the Wooten brothers, right? Wow. What they would do is they would take, like they would be, thumping, but then also pull it back up to make that double thump. So basically what you're doing, having a nail helps, okay? You're coming down at the string, and you want to attack through the string. So basically your thumb is going to be landing on the next string down. Now, the coming back up part is pretty self-explanatory. Okay, you go down, and then right back up. And then all over the fretboard. A little difficult without the wound strings, but... Okay, now here's the part that the masters don't teach you. If you're not used to this new technique and you start getting into it really hard, it will mess up your wrist. So think of it as a way of like, I've never done this before. I'm just going to dive headfirst into it and force myself to get it perfect. You're using a part of your hand that isn't used to it. Okay, and I know that sounds weird. Go running. Go run a marathon with minimal training. Tell me if you can do it without hurting. It's kind of how it is. So, build up the strength in your wrist, because instead of doing this, you're going to be like this. This is like a different way of doing things, right? We're going to have to edit that. But instead of using your wrist like this with your pick in your hand, however you want to hold it, pinky, hand, however, you got, right? When you are thumping, your hand is a little bit more stationary and you are using your thumb. And it's more of a stationary movement as opposed to you're doing that. So it's kind of complicated and it can get tricky if you're not used to doing different techniques. So my advice on that is to take your time. So go slow with it at first, right? Go slow. You don't have to mute the string. If you got to mute, makes things easier, so you can just focus more on building up your speed with it. Okay? And like I said, it does take time. So start slow. Now, the most important thing to remember about this technique is going to be precision. If you've ever played bass and you've done the funk, you know, the slaps and pops, you're like, oh, it's easy on a bass. Yes, it is, because the strings are bigger. The space between the strings varies, obviously different from a guitar. So with a wider target, you know, it's a lot easier. These are, you know, not the same size as bass strings, although sometimes they tend to look like it. So, like I said, start slow, get your attack right, get your precision right, and your accuracy. Speed will come. Now, there are other variations on that to where you can use your fingers with it. I've yet to even get to that point, except for one. So, I'm going to show you a quick little warm-up that I do. Now, what I'm doing here is I'm going to be including thump, hammer, hammer, cold hammer actually, pluck, cold hammer, so on and so forth. So that's going to be like bump, 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 pop, bump, 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 pop. So it's basically just one fluid motion like this, hitting multiple notes across the lower end of the fretboard. So here we go. I'll take it slow. Just like that. Now I'm using it on my A string, so it's basically 0, 2, 5, then open on what is my D, which would be your E string, and then cold hammer on the 3rd, and then cold hammer back on the 5 on the A string. So open, 2, 5, open, 3, 5. Now, as I'm opening that D string, I am plucking it with one finger. So what we're doing there, you come in, your finger is already set in position for the pluck. And that'll also help increase when you want to get further more into thumping with multiples. So here we go. Open, 2, 5, pluck, 3, 5. Now, we got thump, cold hammer, pluck, cold hammer, cold hammer. Now, what a cold hammer is just when you're basically just tapping on the strings on the fretboard just to activate that note. You don't have to hit it hard. You don't have to rail into it. Comfortability is always going to be number one. The best position that I have found that in has been in the classical position. Boom, right there, everything is ready to go. So, thump, cold hammer, pluck, cold hammer, cold hammer. And that's the rhythm that makes. Now, the second part of that little exercise is going to be more of the same. I'm going to be thump on the D string, or however, open, and I'm forming a power chord there. So thump, hammer, hammer to form that power chord, right? And then pluck on the which is the A string, pluck, cold hammer on the 2nd, and then cold hammer on the 3rd. So that's going to sound like this. There's that. So let's put it all together. It's nice and slow. And that's that. Now, a few things to take away. Comfortability has to be number one. If you're used to playing your guitar this way, where it's over sitting far end on your right leg, your arm has got to be way back here to be able to get that. Super uncomfortable, right? Classical position will get you perfect where your guitar needs to be, okay? The less floppy your hand is when you're getting into it, it's going to build up your tolerance in your wrist and your fingers to be able to pull those off. And with speed, obviously, will come. And you'll be able to do some animals as leaders, Tim Henson or any of the other great bands, Djent bands of the modern metal era that are doing that kind of stuff. So what is the point of the thumping? Well, it sounds really cool, right? It sounds cool. And it's just another percussive instrument. It is literally expanding the idea of taking a stringed instrument and turning it into a percussive instrument. Well, why don't just have the bass player do that? Well, they do. But you can also add that extra clean boost element, which is what that tone is what a lot of the modern Djent guitarists use. And obviously it's on a split coil, so if you got one of them, pop it up one, boom, coil split, gives you that tone. And of course you can explore other options as well. Just on your regular bridge pickup, it just sounds a little bit too clean. On the split coil, you got both options going, and it just makes that real good thunk, meaty, crunchy, clean, boosty tone to get those good thumps. Now, it isn't tricky, but as I had stated, it takes time. Don't rush it. You'll mess up your wrist. Let me tell you how bad. Real bad. So take your time. Make sure you got things right. Please subscribe to this video. It would mean the world to me. Doesn't cost anything. You just got to smash a button. Like, comment, share. If you got any questions, feel free to hit me up on my band page, 0 Day Protocol, or put your questions right in here. I'd be happy to help out with anything that I can offer to you. All right? Everybody have a great metal day.